That family Christmas ornament on your Christmas tree, it just might unlock generations of family history. Those holiday traditions that you celebrate each year aren't just memories. They're powerful genealogy tools just waiting to be used. In this video, I'm sharing with you 5 actionable tips to document and uncover genealogy clues this holiday season. So grab some hot cocoa and let's get to it. Hey there, I'm Lisa Lisson with Are You My Cousin? And I'm a genealogy researcher with over 15 years of experience helping others find their ancestors. On this YouTube channel, I'm sharing with you my strategies, tips, and tools to help you uncover your family history, grow a healthy family tree, but not be overwhelmed in the process. So let's get to it. Now this time of year, the holiday season, is actually a really great time of year to do a little bit of genealogy research and collect those family history stories that you want to use going forward. Now, I know we're all busy, and so it really is a little counterintuitive to think that, well, the holiday season is such a good time for genealogy research, but it is, because think about it. Oftentimes we're getting together with family, right? It might be for an afternoon, it could be for an entire weekend, or it could be for an entire week if we're lucky. But we're getting together with family. We are more likely to see perhaps more extended family. And when you have extended family, you have the opportunity to hear and seek out more stories. It could be your Aunt Betty recounting her first Christmas memories, or it could be your grandpa talking about the good old days. But it's these stories that are so important when it comes to pulling clues that could be used for our future genealogy research. This is where we learn about the personality of your ancestors. This is when we learn about maybe potential nicknames that they might have had. Hear an unusual name you haven't heard before? Well, ask who it is. I know this is one way that I've discovered some, well, real identities of individuals with unusual nicknames. So take this opportunity to listen and to maybe ask those questions you haven't asked before. Now, when you are with your family and you are gathering these stories and you're listening to these stories, I have a couple tips for you. The first one would be to actually record these stories. Now, most of us have cell phones, so it's very easy to hit record, and we can actually make a video of the person telling the story. We could make just an audio, record the audio if we wish on that story, but we want to make sure that we're recording it, because you will not remember in the future if you think, never mind, I know I'll remember this story. It was an unusual story, I'll remember it. Guys, you're not going to remember it. I'm not going to remember it, definitely. So I would encourage you to record it. Now, that said, guys, if you're recording somebody who's telling a great fun story or an event that you're at with family, make sure you have permission. Do ask them and let them know what you're doing and why you want to record, because not everybody really wants that to happen. So just make sure you have permission. When you're listening and you're hearing those fun, entertaining stories about your family, don't forget to ask follow-up questions. Ask about where a particular tradition came from in your family. Who started it? Why does that one particular cheese ball always show up? Now make sure you jot down the names, dates, places, anything like that might be mentioned during your conversations. You might question the accuracy of some of those things, but that's okay. No matter how small or insignificant a clue seems, no matter whether you're 100% sure of the accuracy or if it's something you're going to need to follow up on a little bit later, go ahead and write it down. Again, don't trust it to your memory. We're busy this time of year, guys. We're not going to remember these things. But they could be vital clues that you need to follow up on come January, February, and into the new year. Because even casual anecdotes can lead you down that new research path. So next up, consider those recipes that you see every year during the holiday season. Why? Well, recipes handed down through the generations will often carry clues to the family's heritage. So what does this actually look like for you? How would you do this? And what I tell people is, first, take a look at that recipe, that written recipe. Do you see any ethnic or regional influences that might speak to where the family's heritage, where they originally came from? One of the things that I like to see, not only is to kind of what types of foods and flavorings that are on that recipe that would, again, speak to perhaps where the family came from originally, but I also like to look at those recipes that have the most splatters on them, that are a little bit dirtier, that may be a little bit worn, maybe even hard to read, because that tells me that's the family recipe that's been the favorite. If you are seeing kind of maybe some unusual ingredients on that recipe card that you maybe hadn't seen before, maybe it's a different spice, maybe it's just a different type of food altogether, take a moment, make note of it, and at the next time you sit down to research that ingredient. What is it? Where did it come from? What's the origin of it? and that may give you some clues to perhaps the earlier heritage of your ancestors. Now, if you're a foodie and you love to analyze recipes, if you love to be in the kitchen and that's a way that you connect with your family history, another thing you can do is to compare recipes with historical cookbooks. This will allow you to maybe estimate the age of a particular recipe and maybe perhaps trace some migration patterns as well. So think about it this way. That Christmas pudding your family likes so much may point to your English roots. Or maybe those tamales that your family makes every year hints at your Mexican heritage. So again, these foods that we have and that are oftentimes make appearances only during specific holidays can point us in the direction of our family's heritage. Now, for more insights on family recipes and food traditions, I would encourage you to check out a podcast, Passing the Plate. It's one that I co-host with Ashley Covelli, where we explore the fascinating connections between family history and culinary heritage. You'll find a link to our latest episodes in the description below. Now for this tip, I'm going to encourage you to study those holiday photographs, both past and present, because holiday photographs are more than snapshots of the actual celebration. Consider your family's holiday photographs as more than just documentation of the celebration of that particular event. Shift your focus a little bit and view that photograph as a detailed record of your family's past. When you're looking at those past holiday photographs, you're going to be looking for things such as who's in the photographs, but you're also going to be looking at decorations. You're going to be looking at clothing. You're going to be looking at the background, because what you see there can indicate things such as the time period and location that particular photograph was in. Look at the people themselves. Look at their postures. Look at their facial expressions. That can perhaps give you a glimpse into a personality. And if you're not sure who the actual people are, with holiday gatherings with your family, that's a fantastic time to ask the relatives who's actually in that particular photograph. And if you can't get together in person, you're not off the hook, guys. Scan it and start emailing it to your cousins, because you can get a conversation going through that email thread. I have done a number of videos about old family photographs, everything from finding them to identifying who is in them. I'll have a link in the description and up there in the right-hand corner that you can click to find more of my videos that are focused on the old family photographs. Now, consider gifts exchanged during the holidays, well, as more than simple presents. View those handmade items and those inherited heirlooms as historical artifacts that document your family's history. It documents their skills, it documents their traditions, and it documents the connections. So if your family has an heirloom gift that tends to get passed around, or an heirloom type of gift that would be traditionally passed down through the holiday season, take a moment and ask why. What was that tradition and how did it get started? Who started it? Is there a cultural significance to any of the presents that are given during the holiday season? If so, ask. And then once the holiday season has wrapped up, you can use all of these clues that you have found to start adding more depth to the stories of your ancestors on your family tree. Now, if you enjoy pulling clues about your family history from family gatherings and the holiday season, be sure and hit that like button and let me know. Now, consider creating a holiday research tradition for your family. After all, think about it. Again, it's the holiday season. Oftentimes we are getting together with more of our extended family, right? Well, why not host a family history night? Share your findings with them and ask for input from your relatives. Get them involved. Ask them for those funny stories. And also, when you are having a family gathering of any type, ask your relatives to bring photographs. Ask them to bring old letters or anything they think that might be interesting. You can have a little scanning station at your home to be able to scan those photographs and records and letters that they might possibly have and be willing to share with you. With our cell phones, there are so many scanning apps that we can use that we can actually use our cell phones as a scanning app and do it right on the spot. Now here's a tip. If you want your ancestors to, say, bring old family photographs, I would encourage you to make it a more specific request to them before they come. If you are looking for photographs of your Aunt Betty Smith, then make sure that you ask that. Let them know you are looking for the photographs of Betty Smith. Could they bring them if they have them? Or you are researching that Smith family line, which anyone who has photographs from earlier generations, please bring those. What happens sometimes when we just say, guys, I'd love to see the old family photographs. If you have any, bring them and I'll scan them when you get here. When you make a specific request like that, people tend to think through it a little bit more and maybe realize that they need to put a little bit more effort into actually getting those pictures, say, out of the closet. Those pictures may not be easy to get to. They may be on the top shelf in a closet somewhere. They need to find chairs or whatever to get to those if they're way up high. So you want to give them that kind of heads up. This is what I'm looking for. You want to get them thinking about those photographs so they will be able to bring them. If you kind of wait to the last minute or you make a very general approach, a general request, such as, if you have old family photos, I'd love to see them, bring them with you, and I can scan them for you. It's easier to overlook bringing those than if you have a specific photograph in mind or a specific type of photograph in mind. So I encourage more specific requests as opposed to those open-ended requests, though I have certainly made both. All right, guys, I want you to consider your holiday traditions as more than just annual customs. View them as valuable genealogy resources, because by documenting those traditions today, you're going to make the next generation genealogists in the family, you're going to make their life a lot easier. Now, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about analyzing a photograph, such as a holiday photograph, for important family history clues, watch the video on your screen now.